Hi, my name is Julian Marcus. I'm a certified somatic sex educator. I hold a degree in therapeutic bodywork, and I've been in private practice for over 2 decades now with the public and also training practitioners and mentoring them between the worlds of somatic coaching, so body-centered coaching, and therapeutic touch. In this video, I want to speak to you today about the importance of certainty, the why behind male sexual dysfunction and satisfaction, and how there's a degree of belief and learned helplessness that we can reverse when we look at the root causes of male sexual dissatisfaction on a psycho-emotional and body-based level. So first, let's talk about certainty. There are many areas of life that we wish to have certainty in. Obviously, our shelter, our home, our finances, our water and food supply. All these areas of our life, of course, we have a fundamental existential need for a degree of certainty for us to feel good and safe, happy in ourselves. And this couldn't be more true also for our abilities and our capacity on a physiological, anatomical, and performance level when it comes to the bedroom. So for men that turn up in my practice, if there's been some falter or interruption to them being able to perform the way that they want, be that through duration or lack of duration, not lasting as long as they or their partner would like, or reaching the firmness and fullness for the beginning or in the duration of that lovemaking, then doubt can creep in. And in order to protect that individual from further shame or upset or letdown, they can become certain of the opposite of that which they desire. They obviously want to be able to have a fulfilling and enjoyable connection with their partner physically. And what happens instead is that they become certain that they're not good enough, that they're not able to, that it will go wrong, they won't be able to get firm, they won't be able to last as long as they want. And what happens is our need for certainty of the positive affirmation of our ability and confidence to do and enjoy the things that we want to do, we instead protect ourselves by becoming certain that we cannot, certain that we're not able to. And this cascades into 3 directions. This can first feel like the problem is permanent. Maybe this isn't for that man something that's been an issue for them all of their life. It may have come about through a certain relationship, a trauma, a shock, or something that happened in their life. And since then, it happens occasionally or regularly, but there was a moment and a time before which there was not this kind of problem for them. But it can become ingrained and become a belief, a limiting belief to their restoration of a fulfilling sexual experience, that they now believe this is permanent. Another belief that emerges and can spread is the feeling that this is pervasive. So what might have been occasional or a one-time occurrence now feels like it's affecting their confidence, their self-worth, and other areas of their life, pervading through their different roles in life, not only in the bedroom. So we can see that that is obviously a potential consequence. And the third thing is that they take it extremely personally. So we talked at the beginning of this video that we will cover the why, the certainty as an important underlying factor, and some of the things that we can do to address the root cause of this. So it's very interesting to see that the human need for certainty can be turned on its head in a protective mechanism to protect us from further suffering, emotional vulnerability or letdown, that we become certain that we can't do what it is that we want to do. And this can get locked in. And I think it's through this that it then feels pervasive, and we can layer on top, because of shame or not being good enough or lovable or able, we can take it extremely personally. And all of that arc from feeling that this is now a permanent thing, which is not necessarily the case for many people. It's reversible. There's many things that we can do to rewire the pleasure and arousal anatomy and neurology, to pattern interrupt and bring different practices that help support a different layer and levels of mapping our arousal and our ability to regulate that arousal through breath, movement, and sound, as well as other energy practices, so that we're not concentrating the energy just in the genitals, but making this a full body container for that movement, arousal, and energy to move. The pervasive nature of it, if we bring some compassion to the root cause of the sexual dysfunction and dissatisfaction. And I want to point to this book, this amazing book, The Existential Importance of the Penis by Daniel Water. I found this book in 2022 when it first came out, on the day it came out, and I found it to be extremely supportive to the findings that I have, not only in my own life, but the experiences of my clients and the reasons behind why many of the approaches that I use are in alignment with his proposals on existential sex therapy in practice. So on page 87 of this book, it talks about some of the underlying root motivators which can kick in, as Yolm, another existential therapist, wrote in 1980, that there is a protective process. So if we think that there's something wrong with the body, there's something wrong with us, and we're taking it really personally, we're ignoring the message from the body. And it's not that the body and the mind are separate. The body is the subconscious mind. And the body thinks in sensations, memories. It's called implicit. Often it's not recountable. We can't say and put words and language easily to what's in the subconscious mind, of course, but there are tools, and I use many, that help us to move information out of implicit into our explicit, recountable, languageable part of our consciousness. So we can see that this protective process that often ends up as erectile dysfunction or early ejaculation or absence of ejaculation first originates in our nervous systems, in a fear of vulnerability, and is often triggered. It can be penis in vagina sex that triggers something where the man in solo masturbation has zero problem with reaching erection or a duration of self-pleasure. So what is happening? What is happening on a deeper level? And Yolm was talking about the protective process, or even this penis's protective shutdown. And often there are some underlying and unresolved themes around isolation, freedom or lack of, responsibility. For example, this often shows up in relationships when after they've got married or there's an engagement or a couple have moved in together and things have shifted in terms of responsibility. Lack of erection or early ejaculation or other sexual dissatisfaction symptoms, we could say, can originate from a lack of meaning in life, and themes around death or terror or existential dread. So we can see then that if there's something organizing a person's physiology and anatomical arousal response, this is unconscious often. And many people turn up in my practice not knowing why it's arisen in their life, but wanting to fix it as if there's something broken in the body, instead of listening to the cues and the subtleties and the deeper root meaning of what it is that they could address, and therefore transform their story and their relationship to these symptoms, which are a result of what is not being addressed. This is often the way that it plays out, and is backed up by tons of empirical, qualitative, and research that and writings of multiple different practitioners over many decades that Daniel is pointing to in his book. So if we examine this, we can look with compassion to the reasons that are organizing somebody to have these protective processes or penis protective shutdowns. And it's through this that we can gain transformational personal growth around stability and agreements, vulnerability and trust, feeling safe in our body, in our relationship with our partners, in our lives. And it's here that I like to begin with each individual client of mine, rather than first trying to treat erectile dysfunction or premature ejaculation as a dysfunction of the body. We first honor this continuum that is thinking and feeling, doing and being, or felt relationship and known relationship. They impact each other continually, and it's important to address that the underlying organization of one's life and meaning making can often implicate our performance and sexual experience in the bedroom. So it's an honor to serve you with this knowledge and share these fantastic resources. And if you want to get in touch with me, I'd be happy to start a journey of tuning into the why behind perhaps what you're experiencing right now. If it's a sexual dissatisfaction, something around erectile realities or challenges, or you want to foster more ejaculatory choice and duration in your lovemaking, I would be happy to speak to you and serve you with these practices. Please get in touch, and I hope to see you in the next one.